tell.
Hello.
Use the force, Luke.
What you talking about, Marcia, Marcia, Marcia.
What's up now?
Spider friends, go for it.
Transform and roll out.
And I'll form the head. That's what she said.
Don't!
Hey, this is Jonathan.
And this is Allan, and welcome to the NerdInMePodcast. Jonathan, what are we talking about today?
Allan, today we are talking about WandaVision Episode 4, We Interrupt This Program.
You know, I never realized these things actually had like titles to the episodes.
Yeah. Last week was Now in Color.
Yeah, so what'd you think of... Oh, spoiler alert, first of all, right? What'd you think of this episode?
Well, not a lot of WandaVision in it, or at least not a lot of new footage. I think this is what a lot of people were asking for. It's kind of an explanation of what's going on. I liked it as an episode, but a little part of me is sad that this episode happens because I enjoyed speculating what was going on. I enjoyed not knowing what we were watching and trying to figure out what was going on. And this episode gave a lot of answers.
Yeah, I could definitely say the first three, it's the reason why you and I have been podcasting weekly on it, is because it just promoted a lot of intrigue and a lot of questions. And this one, you know, still some questions, but nothing like the first three. But I liked it, you know, even though it wasn't the same kind of WandaVision. I don't think you could sustain that. I don't think you can go, let's say, 5 or 6 episodes of still... It's just too many questions at that point. If you had to keep pushing, eventually it had to happen. I do have my issues with this episode. I mean, I can definitely say the first 3 I was very pleased with it, very interesting. But this one I kind of had some issues. Did you feel the same way too, or were you okay with it?
Do you mean issues with the story or performances?
I would say performances mostly.
Okay. Well, yeah. There's this scientist from Thor, who I never really liked in Thor, and she just carried that over to this, which I didn't think too. I thought some of the jokes were not placed properly. Does that make sense?
The timing was definitely off. That's for sure.
Yeah, and other than that, I was okay. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I liked about it, and I think the fact that you're right, they kind of needed to do this episode in regards to really explaining a lot of what's going on, because, you know, after episode 1 and 2, you know, on the internet, people are like, what is this show about? Like, what's going on? Yeah. And then, you know, you and I even talked last week about how, you know, thankfully episode 3 opened up the world a little bit more and really got us talking and kept us interested. So I understand why they did this. Hopefully this is the last one of these they do. And, you know, for however, what are there, 5 left, they'll kind of do a back, you know, like we'll see scenes from both outside and inside the reality in every episode. Yeah, I don't know that I had problems with it. Like I said, maybe the timing of the jokes, things were off like that. And, just, and like the one actress who, as an actress, I don't mind her. I just didn't like the character that much in Thor, and they carried it over here.
Well, let's start from the beginning, because I think how this show opens, like when I started watching, because I watched, you know, first thing when I woke up, and that first opening scene, what are your thoughts on that? Because I was like, dude, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, I love the opening scene. Because it took me a second to, you know, I watched it early in the morning too. It took me a second to realize what was going on.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, why? Like I probably because it was early. My brain was like, why did he make it look like they're undusting? You know, like,
yeah, right.
I'm like, oh wait a minute, it's because they dusted.
And the only time we really saw that was, no, we didn't. I was going to say we saw that in Spider-Man, but we didn't. Yeah.
No, and this is the second thing that popped into my mind. I'm like, this is a cool visual. It's a great effect, and I love that this is how they're bringing these people in the hospital back. But they set the precedent in Far From Home that they just kind of reappeared.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I wish it's like they didn't even watch their own dang movies. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was a great effect. I thought the confusion was overplayed. I don't know if people would be that confused and like that, because it looked like a bomb had gone off or something. Like people didn't know what to do. But
wouldn't you be freaking out all of a sudden? You know, the half, the 50% all of a sudden reappeared out of nowhere, like literally out of thin air. Wouldn't that would freak me out, I think.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
But I thought what was weird was, see, this is what
I'd be
confuses
more
me.
like, I'd be like, oh, come on, you got me when you disappeared. There you go, make a decision.
When Thanos snapped his fingers, right, and people disappeared,
Right.
and then when they reappeared, they just randomly reappeared anywhere? Because it's not necessarily where they left off, is it?
Right, because people were in airplanes and stuff like that. So
And time passed.
right, 5 years passed. And,
Right. So
well, I read somewhere where, or was it might have been a Russo Brothers like Ask Me Anything thing, and people were like, they said who's it, the Hulk? When the Hulk snapped his fingers, he wished for everybody that was blipped away. Which why are they calling it the blip? I thought it was called the decimation. I'm very confused by this whole thing.
maybe one is to eliminate, and the blip, the uncool version, is to reappear.
Yeah, right. So anyway, when the Hulk snapped his fingers, he wished for everybody that had been disappeared to reappear safely.
Safely. Oh,
Safely.
all right, that makes
So,
sense.
if you're crossing the street, you're not going to reappear in front of a car. And, because think about it, if Nick Fury and Maria Hill reappear in the middle of the street, who knows what would have happened?
Right. Well, they did make someone made the comment like, "Oh, everyone reappeared and we're overwhelmed someplace."
Right.
Like, huh? I didn't know what was going on. Like people that were in surgery, all of a sudden they need surgery. Well, I guess anything could happen.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's thinking too deep into it.
Yeah, but I'm really glad we got to see a scene like that, and it's funny because I never thought about seeing the actual coming back. Like, I mean, now I'm like, oh, I wish we could go back to Titan or to Wakanda and see the heroes reappear.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was a great opening scene. Captain Marvel's friend, what was the daughter is Monica, the character in this. I forgot the mom's name. She was Captain Marvel's friend in the 90s. She passes away from cancer. I thought it was interesting that she helped found Sword, which was pretty good.
Yeah.
I just also, I thought there were plenty of natural ways to slip in MCU references, and they really didn't.
What do you mean?
Well, just in terms of, you could have thrown a reference in like, since S.H.I.E.L.D.'s been disbanded, we're the main people or whatever.
Okay, gotcha.
Or since the Avengers, that battle up in New York, because literally, because Hulk snapped before the actual battle, so she came back before, while all that was happening, the battle in New York was going on.
Right.
Just little things like that. I felt like you could throw in little references, but no, I thought the opening was great. It's definitely it grabs you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was weird because I timed it. So I was watching the intro, and I got 7 minutes in, and for some reason I totally forgot I was watching WandaVision. Because I was so used to the sitcom and
Right.
the light comedy and stuff, and this was a strong departure of. It was just a completely different flavor than what we've been watching. I'm not saying it was bad; it was just different, and I totally forgot what I was watching. Like, oh, what's going on? Like, what is the premise of this? And in one episode, they explained. I don't know, is it too much or it was just enough? But it was, gosh, it answered. I think I was thinking maybe I should listen to our first 2 episodes on this to cover the first 3 shows on all the questions that we had. It seemed like they answered a lot.
Well, that's the thing. I think it answered a lot of questions from 1, 2, and 3. But does that mean there are no more questions?
Well, we don't know who the people that one has been interacting with, right? Because
go ahead.
Well, because Detective Wu was like, okay, who is this person? Who do we recognize? And they started creating that bulletin board like they do on all TV shows.
Yeah, which made me jealous because I'm like, why haven't I created a bulletin board for this show yet? It's one thing I'm missing.
And some like a yarn of string how to connect it all together.
Yeah. So, but I thought they were identifying them, and they were finding out. And this is one of the things I wanted to bring up with you is that I was under the assumption that when they were like, oh, these 2 people are really these 2 people. Right. Gotcha. That they were naming people that live in the real town of Westview. And I found it, one of the things that I thought about immediately was like, why haven't they identified Agnes yet? Because Agnes is, she's like third lead in this in the TV, in the quote unquote TV show. After WandaVision, she's the one that gets the most screen time. So they
didn't identify her name at all.
No.
Ah.
You would think if they did, they would show that.
Yeah.
Because they showed they showed background characters who they are. So why would
maybe they have to pay her if they mention her name.
Yeah, maybe. But no, that's why I think she's involved in it a lot. I think
more so than just regular
that
people.
AIM is involved.
Yeah, yeah.
And my thinking was after watching something like, I guess AIM's not involved. But then I was like, wait a minute, they could still be involved. Sword might not even know they're involved.
What do you mean? How can they?
Because maybe AIM is involved in another way. Maybe
yeah.
Because even Jimmy Woo put on his board, what do the hexagons mean?
Right.
Which is funny. Which is where I'm like, me and Jimmy, we think alike. But how cool was it when he introduces himself to Monica that he does a magic trick with his business card?
Oh yeah,
which
cute.
is a callback
to
Ant-Man 2, where he's trying to learn hand magic.
Yeah, speaking of the two, Jimmy Woo, I had issues with him and Darcy also. I kind of felt the same way as you. Darcy she was a character I didn't like her in Thor, and she brought that over, and they're just something so annoying. And then when you get, Detective Woo, I wasn't crazy about him either in Ant-Man, because he just seemed like, I don't know, like the dorky FBI agent. And then all of a sudden now I'm supposed to take him just a little bit more seriously. And when they're together, it was not a good mix. And it almost seems like Monica and the cast that surrounds her, like Monica and the new director,
Right.
When they're on screen, they just seem different. Like they're like if we're watching a movie, okay, I can see that. It's like they're like movie actors,
Mm-hmm.
And then when I see Darcy and Woo, it's like I'm watching a really bad sitcom. Like they don't belong,
Right.
Or the caliber of acting, maybe that's what it is. But I'm sure they're directed purposely that way. But it just seemed very unbalanced. I mean, we watched the first 3 episodes and everyone's doing a great job selling their parts, and I was really, really getting thrown into the show. And this is probably the first time I felt I kept pulling. I was in and I was out of it. I was in and out of it, and it was mostly when those characters are on screen, because I didn't know how to take. Excuse me, I don't know how to take Detective Wu, because in Ant-Man he's like the comedy part of it, This time he didn't play that role, so it was kind of hard to take him a little seriously in this.
Yeah, I think what happens with Darcy and Wu is that in their respective movies, Ant-Man and Thor, they were the comic relief. They really added nothing to the stories of Ant-Man and Thor, and then you pull them into this where they're pretty integral to the party, because Darcy is the one that discovers the signal, and Wu is the one working with Monica. He's the only on-camera representation of the FBI we have there.
Mm-hmm.
Almost kind of makes me wish they would have just threw in a line and made him Sword and be like, oh yeah, I transferred from FBI to Sword.
Right.
But no, I get what you're saying, because they do have an integral part in this episode, and what we knew of them before that is they were just comic relief, and it did kind of throw it off, and the real lack of Vision and Scarlet Witch I found really weird. I mean, we only had that one original scene at the end when we see exactly what happens to Monica,
mm-hmm.
how she gets kicked out of the alternate reality or whatever we want to call it. And it was good. It was good, but it's also that answering a lot of questions, and it's not even a disappointment of things not being, because I think we kind of guessed everything correctly, right?
Yeah, we definitely said like the beekeeper was definitely someone from the outside coming in. We just weren't exactly too sure who they were.
Right.
And in regards to the helicopter thing, what did we say with that one? We did say it was some. Oh no, we thought it was like a real helicopter
dropping
in, but it was still it was basically a drone. But that doesn't explain the color change. And the one that Monica flew in was a plane, not a helicopter.
Right.
Oh no, it
Well,
was a
they-
drone. It was a. Oh, I
yeah.
got it. So
There's a throwaway line that they changed it. And that's the thing. Maybe the reality changed it to fit in with the aesthetics of what was created there, which is kind of what happened to Monica, because we also thought Monica went in on purpose to try to help or save people. She accidentally gets pulled in. I think there was a memory thing going on with her where she didn't know she was Monica.
mm-hmm.
You know, she was cast as this Geraldine, and then that's what she was doing. And you know, when they have moments of and that's the thing, real reality is seeping in, and Wanda's doing everything she can to kind of kick it out.
So let's all right. This is a good springboard. Let's go back to our speculation as to what is really going on with Wanda now that you've watched episode 4. What do you think is going on with her now?
I think it's a psychological break. I think she's broken from reality. I think, or at the very least, someone is manipulating her, the psychological aspect of everything that's happened to her. Because she's ridiculously powerful to the point where even people outside, like the sheriffs from East, what's it called?
Eastview.
Eastview. Are acting like Westview never existed. Oh, and by the way, we're both from New Jersey. There is no Route 2. There's Eastview or Westview, New Jersey.
Yeah, I thought it was Coles in Jersey, though.
Yeah. Well, in the comic books, they moved to Leonia, which is a real town in New Jersey.
Yeah.
There's just which buy a house in Leonia. So she's ridiculously powerful, and she's the cause of this, but is she being manipulated? Now, Allan, if you watch my YouTube video on the comics that might have inspired WandaVision, you'll know that in House of M, when she changes reality so that everybody gets along and the mutants aren't persecuted and she's a normal person, she's not a mutant, everybody thought Magneto made her do it, but it was really she was persuaded by her brother. So is there something like this going on? Was she persuaded by whoever Agnes or again, I still believe Agnes is an agent for a higher I was going to say higher power, but it might go the other way. So, is Agnes working for someone? And was Wanda taken advantage of in her weakened mental psychological state after? Because you'd have to think that after a huge battle, after everything she went through, losing vision, blipping away for 5 years, still mourning the loss of her brother, Tony Stark gone, Cap old and pretty much gone. You have to imagine that after the funeral and life quote unquote gets back to normal, that all kind of hit her. It's like, and I hate to bring the podcast down, but when you lose someone in your life and you go through the what's the word I'm looking for? You go through the motion, I guess, of having the wake and the funeral and shaking people's hands and giving hugs and all. There's always a moment, especially the closer someone is to you that has passed. There's always those moments when you go back to your normal life, but it kind of hits you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It all hits you in your normal life, and I think Wanda was in this moment because it's roughly 3 weeks after the blip, right? Because she came back to Sword 3 weeks later. Monica did, and I think Wanda was just kind of living life, and it kind of just hit her, and she had like a little breakdown, and someone took advantage of that.
Yeah, I felt Wanda, she essentially cracked a little bit, and I agree with you. I think someone's tapping into that where she's at her most vulnerable. And I was really thinking like this whole week, just kind of thinking about the show. It's kind of like, what is going on with her? Like, because they're in the Vision was a soul stone, right?
Vision was the Mind Stone.
The Mind Stone. Okay, so I mean, it freaked me out when Vision walks in and you see dead Vision.
I wrote that in my notes, dude. I jumped. It startled me.
Yeah.
He's got the hole in his head. He's gray. Yeah.
Yeah, and so what really creeped me out was like, God, after this whole time, is Wanda manipulating? Like every time we see Vision on screen, are we watching dead Vision? Is this? For me, it freaked me out thinking like she's playing house with a dead body. And she's creating this whole world, this empty world in her mind just to cope with what happened. Not only did Vision die, she killed Vision. I mean, initially, right? She's the one that actually
Right.
killed her.
Yeah, and there was guilt with that. Because remember, there was that whole scene in Infinity War where she's like, I can't do it. I can't. And he's like, you have to. And, he says back to her, all I see is you. And it was devastating for her. And she meant it when she said to Thanos, you took everything from me.
Right.
And he comes back like, I don't even know who you are.
Yeah, so she not only did she kill Vision, but she saw him die twice at the hands of Thanos also. Brutally, I might add. And so it freaked me out when it definitely startled me too. But it just made me think like, God, in Wanda's mind before this episode, Wanda and Vision, they're like soulmates. I mean, you're talking about like someone not from from America, and then Vision is essentially created by the what was the Mind Stone, right? The Mind Stone,
yeah.
with the intellect from Tony Stark's computer, whatever, and became sentient, right?
And that's where Wanda got her powers too. Don't forget the Mind Stone.
Right, yeah. And so they are connected via that, and that emotional breakdown that must have created this. Someone must be playing with her, manipulating her own powers against her, because like we said even in the last episode, sometimes her powers were out of control, and at times no control. Like she couldn't make that Stark disappear, and then when a water broke, the whole town was like underwater and stuff.
Right.
So yeah, it got a little creepy, and just made me really think about this whole episode. This whole entire time, is this something just created by Vision? It kind of made me sad. Like she's playing with dead Vision. I guess Vision's just really dead. Like he isn't coming back because this is just in her mind or created through her mind.
A lot of it is, it's in her mind, but it's made manifest. It's like, you're right. There might be an actual gray, empty shell Vision, like that she's like a puppet walking around this town.
Good God.
And what if, what if the regular townspeople, that's what they see?
Oh my God.
They're interacting with this thing. So I really like, and look, we talked about it, the Twilight Zone aspect to it. There's just undercurrent of creepiness in all these episodes.
Right.
I really, it's a great job. But so they answered the questions. We know that sword's outside. We know it's an alternate, or I don't even know what word to use. Not alternate reality. It's just a different reality being created by Wanda. The biggest question, I guess, is she doing it all on her own, or is someone manipulating her?
Yeah.
And what is Agnes? Agnes is not a regular townsperson.
Right.
Yeah, I think everyone else is, but I don't think Agnes is.
Right. Someone's pulling
What
someone's
happened to the
strings.
beekeeper dude?
What happened to him?
Because he shouldn't know. He shouldn't know. He thinks he's a beekeeper, right?
Oh yeah, but remember Wanda rewound, so maybe that kind of like pushed him out.
Okay.
Maybe.
That's another thing I want to bring up. So who's doing the edits?
The edits? What do you mean?
Because there's two parts in the show where they're watching, and it kind of skips, and they're like, well, it's like someone's editing it, or someone.
I got the impression Wanda was doing that. Like she's creating her own reality. She's editing out the things that she doesn't want.
Oh, okay. I thought it was someone else.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the impression I got out of it. I think with this episode, I think why I'm kind of torn with it, I did like it. Don't get me wrong. I did like it. But I think it was one episode of just, this sounds weird, too many answers. I think it would have been good if they gave us some and maybe next week a little more. But it almost seems like, okay, the last 3 episodes, here you go. This is what's going on. It was like, I think I wanted a little less info and learn as we go. But
well, that's why I'm hopeful that next few episodes we'll bring up even more questions so that we can kind of it's like, all right, here's the answers to these things, but wait till you see what's coming.
So the biggest one basically is who essentially is pulling the strings if there is someone else. Why the kids? Why for the children business? And
is Vision alive?
Yeah. There's still a lot more left to go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I think I was just expecting us to hit. We were supposed to be in the 80s, right? Isn't that what we expected
Because
this
they're
episode
right,
to
because
be?
they're 70s last week, so
Right. So I
everybody's-
think I was expecting that, and I wasn't expecting like that's why I looked at the time. I'm like, wait a minute, 7 minutes. Well, what's going on? Where's Wanda and Vision? And like you said, we didn't get to the very end. But how did you feel when you saw Wanda? Obviously, it wasn't the same Wanda that we've been watching over the last several years. This was a different Wanda. Did you feel kind of? What were your thoughts on that when you saw Wanda angry?
When Wanda confronted Monica, I was like scared of Wanda. Not like actually scared of Wanda,
Right.
but I was like, whoa. This is a side of Wanda we've never seen.
Yeah.
And I think Elizabeth Olsen did a great job with it. And it's just, to me, I'm like, this is how badly she needs this reality to be true. Like, she threw Monica through 3 walls.
Yeah.
And the thing is, she's asking Monica these questions, and Monica's not answering. And my feeling was that she was like, oh, I can't tell her I'm from Sword or whatever. I genuinely think she doesn't know.
Yeah, I agree.
But she's as confused as anybody else.
Yeah.
Even when she brought up Ultron, she didn't know. It was like a memory just kind of popped into her head, and she just said it out loud. And she knew it upset Wanda, but she might not have even known why, It
Right.
upset her. So,
No, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
The actress that played Monica Rambeau, tell me, wasn't she Captain Marvel at one point? Or was she always Photon?
the actress?
No.
Oh, the character?
The character, yeah. Was she ever Captain Marvel?
Monica Rambeau was her I believe her first superhero name was Captain Marvel, because when she joined the Avengers, I think Captain Marvel had just died or something. I don't know the whole history, but she was definitely. I started reading around Secret Wars when that came out, and she was part of Secret Wars, and she was called Captain Marvel. She's the first Captain Marvel I knew. The only thing I remember about Captain Marvel before her was a graphic novel my cousin had called The Death of Captain Marvel, which was about the first one getting cancer and dying. And she had light power. She could turn into light. She could travel at the speed of light, things like that. Light blast, energy blast. And and she was even leader of Avengers at one point.
See, I remember her. I remember her being Captain Marvel, and I was thinking, you know what?
Yeah.
I kind of wish they built the Captain Marvel movie around her versus Brie Larson.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. She was Miss Marvel. Carol Danvers was Miss Marvel for the longest time. And then she became...
She got
She went
promoted.
to space. She went to space. Her powers changed. She became binary, I think her name was. Then she came back, and then she took on the name Warbird for a while. She was Avenger Warbird. Then I think she went back to Captain Marvel. No, then she went back to Miss Marvel, and then she eventually took on the name Captain Marvel. And Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel, eventually became Photon.
Photon, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I was watching, the show, and I was like, you know what? That would have been cool if this character, this lady played, like they based a movie on her Captain Marvel.
Her version of Captain Marvel, yeah.
Yeah, versus Carol Danvers, or maybe it was just Brie Larson. This, Monica just seems, maybe that's what it is, because I remember Captain Marvel. I remember her being Captain Marvel for me when I first was introduced to the character, and that for some reason she just made more sense. I think of being Captain Marvel than Brie Larson's Captain Marvel.
Right.
Being that she's Kree.
Yeah, I mean, I have a, and this is a recent thing. Like, I don't know if Marvel trying to act like Carol Danvers has been Captain Marvel this whole time, but I have Miss Marvel #1, which came out in like 2008, 2009, and it was like shortly after that series they started pushing this Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel thing on people.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, maybe I just like her as an actress because she's doing well.
She was good. She's really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, considering she's playing 2 different roles, that Geraldine role and the Monica role.
Yeah. Hey, this guy, this acting director Tyler Hayward, that name does not ring a bell. I was trying to think, who is that guy?
Yeah, if that's an MCU Easter egg, it's a deep one. So I would watch a YouTube video on that.
So they're not familiar with you either?
Tyler Hayward, no.
Yeah, I was trying to think, but when I saw that actor, I was, immediately, dude, I'm thinking if they're able to do like another MCU movie and they did like Earth X, boom, that's Captain America.
Director Hayward?
Yeah, the act. No, not director Hayward, but the actor that
the
played
actor?
that guy. Remember, like in Earth X Captain America, he's like bald and he has like a
Scarred
scar
up,
of the A on his head. And he's got the American flag as his outfit. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Calling it.
I have one question.
Yeah.
It's only because they mentioned it a few times, but does the radiation CMBR cosmic microwave something radio I don't know to be band maybe cosmic microwave band radiation? You think that's anything huge? Because they make a point to bring it up twice, and they talk about how it's radiation from the Big Bang.
It sounded odd, the name of it. Well, they did mention it. Yeah, God probably does mean something.
And why would she broadcast the TV show?
Who, Wanda?
That's why I'm thinking she's being manipulated. Like that's her rational side trying to ask, get help out, like ask for help. You know what I mean? Why live in reality and because look, those waves are getting out there. That's why Darcy was able to find them.
Right.
So why put that out there? Why put it out as a TV show? Why not just live the sitcom life? Why does it have to be broadcast?
Right. Why does it even have to be a sitcom at all? I mean, she has the power to apparently just to take over a whole town and create it in any vision that she wants. Why?
Wait.
That's true. Why a sitcom? Why, of all things?
Maybe there's like a side of her that is more rational. That's why that to me makes me feel like there's some kind of manipulation going on.
Huh.
Somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I in every episode I get closer and closer to thinking we're going to see Doctor Strange in like the last episode or next to last episode or something.
Doctor Strange.
I think he's going to make an appearance.
I don't know. Well, all I think now is that when this series is over, it's just going to be the game changer in the MCU, I think, because this, I think, just changes everything. I think it's what springboards all the weird stuff that's going on. So I don't think it's going to end with a nice tight bow and wrapping things up. If anything, I think it's going to be something extremely major that's going to have a ripple effect across everything.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is setting up phase whatever they're up to, 8. This is setting up post Avengers MCU.
Yeah.
Something however this ends, it's definitely going to lead. Well, we know it's going to impact at least Doctor Strange because she's in the movie,
right?
And well, Spidey because Doctor Strange isn't going to be in Spidey and she's going to be in Doctor Strange. So,
see, I think that's cool. I think having like when they had Thanos, that was like the common thread amongst all the Marvel movies, almost kind of leading up to it.
Right.
Because it was an Infinity Gauntlet, the comic books. You had to build. You needed a lot more characters to go against Thanos, so you had to have that, and having this, multiverse or time bending thing because of what happened to Infinity War, it does make it interesting. And I think your call on Kang the Conqueror possibly being that main villain, it's getting tighter. Like that notion that that's the main bad guy. I think it almost confirms it at this point, right?
What if they're doing? Oh my God! What if they're doing two converging things where they do the multiverse, but they also do some kind of time, like Kang, and then maybe the two villains get together at some point.
Who? Kang and who?
Mephisto. I don't know, someone.
Yikes!
Because I really feel like if Wanda is being manipulated, it's either by AIM or by a metaphysical thing. I don't know the time. If they're going to introduce time, unless they're going to totally change Kang and not be a time traveling guy, but Loki's all about time travel in the series.
True.
So I don't know.
Do you think and do you think also because
it seems like you have two tracks of these Marvel movies that go now. You're having the multiverse, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange. You have the time thing, whatever time travel, which would be the Loki series and Ant-Man, Quantumania. That we know of so far. We don't know what Shang-Chi's about. We don't know what Eternals is about.
What I was saying is that Captain Marvel has started to introduce the Kree and shapeshifting too. And when I saw that, I thought for sure they were going to lead towards Secret Invasion. Where other heroes that we've known this whole time turn out to be not who we think they are. So I thought they were they were leaning towards that. But when they started introducing the Eternals, it's like, wait, what the hell? So I'm not too sure exactly which angle that they're taking, but boy, they got a lot of storylines that they can tap into for the coming future. Like you said, you got the time traveling thing, you got the Kree, you got there's so many things at this point, that's even unresolved too. Are we going to see Adam Warlock eventually? I thought they were building up to that too. Remember Guardians of the Galaxy?
He might be in Guardians 3, maybe.
Right. So, so that's another avenue that they can take. But I think it'd be good and smart if it came down to like one solitary bad guy or bad guys, like they did with Thanos. It was something that over the next decade, we're like, oh, finally, another big monster Marvel event. So yeah, I don't think we're gonna get this nice closure with WandaVision. If anything, it's gonna be the exact opposite. No,
I mean, we might, when we do the last episode podcast, we might be crying. I mean, Vision might be dead for realsies, and Wanda might be in a nut house. And
hey, last episode, we should have a disclaimer that we're gonna be cussing the F out of it.
Yeah, or we just might be like, oh my god, I can't wait for Doctor Strange movie or whatever.
Hey, dude, it's only a 30-minute episode. Maybe we should do a live, like we record while we're watching it for the first time.
I was totally thinking about that because it's called Group Watch. Like we can group watch it on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
which I don't know what that. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but. I guess we'd be watching and starting at the same time and all that stuff, I guess, right?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right, maybe we'll do the last episode like that.
All right. Well, let's hear from the fans. Would you like to hear a live podcast of the last episode of WandaVision? How about that?
Right.
All right, that's cool. All right, we got something to plan. Anything else you wanted to add?
That's it for this week. I'm sure I'll plan the same next week.
So next week, I think we definitely tap into the 80s, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I legit hope we're back in the town.
Well, it's going to be interesting. Maybe I may have to do a rewatch of episodes. No, I'm probably not. I don't know. I think definitely watching the next episode, we're going to be seeing it from a different point of view at this point because now we know more. And you know what?
Do you think they still do the aspect ratio and all that? You think they still do that?
Yeah, I think they do.
We all know what's going on.
Yeah, because 80s is still kind of like that. You know what? I'm going to be upset though if they're going to keep bouncing in and out. From WandaVision out to back to Darcy and Wu. That's going to annoy me a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
Because I again they really every time they're on screen they pulled me out. But then when I see Monica's character, she pulls me back in because maybe it's the acting or something, but I think I need more WandaVision just to see what's going to happen.
They didn't even give us the WandaVision theme, like a fake theme song or even the title card.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I noticed that. I was like, hey, where is the opening of the show?
And I want to talk real quickly about the music. Of course, you had Help Me Rhonda in episode 2 when Wu was talking to him on the radio. Mm-hmm. And this one ends with Voodoo Child by Jimi Hendrix, which, come on, Voodoo Child. That's got to be – that's got to mean something.
It's got to mean something. Yeah.
So, and there were no fake commercials in this episode. Isn't
there a Marvel character called Brother Voodoo?
Yeah. He was actually Sorcerer Supreme for a little while recently.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Oh, maybe they introduced him.
Oh,
wow! It looks like next episode is the Halloween next episode where they dress up in their comic accurate costumes.
Yeah. Brother Voodoo, you heard it here first, kids. Huh? Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I don't have anything else. I liked it overall. We haven't been grading these episodes, huh?
No. Shall we start? What's Agnes's secret? She's got to be a bad guy, right?
Bad guy? She seemed in last episode. She seemed just as fearful in front of Vision. When they're standing by the hedges.
Right.
She seemed pretty fearful. Like she did not seem like a person that was in control or was like. Yeah, she did not look like a person in control of the situation. She looked scared.
Okay.
But no, I agree with you. I didn't even think that she wasn't on the bulletin board today. That they were putting up. So yeah, maybe you're onto something. That she's not from there.
Could be, Rabbit. Could be. All right. So, I mean, not as hyped as last week because I literally texted you last week after that. So I'm like, oh my God, you got to watch it. We have the podcast on it. Because we weren't going to. We were just going to do the opening and maybe the last show. But this has really piqued our curiosity. So.
Well, this has been fun though, and I hope the listeners like what we're doing and following along with us, because this is different. I mean, like you and I have said several times, boy, after Endgame, like I don't know, I don't know how much I'm gonna ride this one, but boy, they pulled me in, and if they're successful, it's gonna be interesting, that's for sure. But I'm on for the ride for this time, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because usually with like Netflix shows, I'm behind. Like, you know, when for example, like The Boys came out like on Amazon Prime, I came on board really late. So it's this is probably one of the few times I'm actually like on it week per week. Even The Mandalorian, like I wasn't watching it like day of release. I was watching it like either like a Saturday night or a Sunday night with the family. And this is when, wake up, Disney Plus, gotta watch the TV show.
Yeah, no, it's I think I said last week, it's something to look forward to. You know, like, I can't wait usually I can't wait till Friday because it's the last day before the weekend. But, you know, I was doing it with The Mandalorian. I'd wake up, watch it before I got ready for work. And I'm doing it with WandaVision. And I have a feeling I'll do it with Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Okay, so we have two major, like, Disney original series that just came out, right? We got The Mandalorian and we got WandaVision. I know they're apples and oranges. Mm-hmm. Which one are you more excited for in regards to like when the episodes were coming out?
I'd say, I mean, it's only been 4 episodes and only 3 opportunities to get excited for them. I'd say this because and look, it's only 4 episodes in, but I'm like, what's going to happen next week? And it's I think it's going to be finite. I don't know if there's going to be like a season 2. You know, I never thought of Mandalorian as one off. Like I even though they might not have said, I always thought it would go beyond one season. And because it's so quick, it's I know I can watch it. Like there were times I woke up a little later than usual and I couldn't watch the whole episode of Mandalorian before I could get to work. So I know I can, watch this whole episode and kind of think about it all day, even at work.
Yeah. I'm leaning more towards WandaVision.
Asking more questions, yeah.
Yeah, and each episode really, I mean, they are like running right into, like each episode connects tightly where Mandalorian, and I'm not bashing Mandalorian, it's a cool show, but there are some episodes where like if you didn't watch it, some episodes you could actually skip it if you needed to. Yeah, this one I think you need every single episode in it. And I'm having a blast watching it. And thinking and talking with you about it, discussing, like trying to figure things out between the show itself and how it affects the future.
I mean, I read somewhere before it started that it's going to be like a 4-hour movie, and I'm like, yeah, I can see that now. Like this is one like the Mandalorian, you can watch single episodes, you can skip episodes, but this is like one long movie so far.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's fun. It's so unique, maybe unique. I mean, it is kind of Twilight Zone-ish, but what Marvel did over the last decade is just phenomenal, and the fact that they're doing something like this and capitalizing on this is just brilliant. And This is Kevin Feige. Holy crap, that guy's a genius.
Yeah. He's good. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. All right. What's up with Mon's Basement Collectibles? Hey, I enjoyed this week of books, by the way.
Okay, yeah. Well, I was in the WandaVision mood, so I posted some WandaVision comics. Just doing what I do. I want people to check out our YouTube, though. Of course, check out our Instagrams, Mom's Basement Collectibles and Dr. Indiana Jones Jr. Or Dr. Indiana. I always forget if it's Jr. or not, but you'll correct me.
Yeah.
Okay, it's both. And but I really want people to check out our YouTube channel because we've been putting up some really good stuff. I put up an episode on the comics I think inspired WandaVision. Allan just put up one on the whip he's got. It's like his 15th whip. But I like that kangaroo hide. That's pretty awesome.
Dude, yeah. That was, dude. That, you know
Did you get
what?
to crack it yet? Or is it still raining?
No, well, you know what? Actually, I'm looking out my window. I can actually see blue skies for once, but it's way too wet to bring it out there. Yeah, because I ordered the leather. It's an ointment that you put on it to preserve it, and I'm gonna put that on before I take it outside. But no, your YouTube was good, man. Like if you like, well, first of all, right, we've been watching WandaVision Disney Plus. We've been podcasting on it. Jonathan's YouTube video is awesome. Give it a watch, give it a listen, watch it because it is very informative. Because the big thing about WandaVision, which is cool, is that it is really servicing. Like if you read comic books, like, you know, for the last 3 decades or so, you're gonna appreciate it, you know. And I think with the books that, the books that Jonathan mentions how it's tying with WandaVision, it's definitely worth a watch. It's really informative, and John's mind of comic books, it's on full display. So yeah, check out his YouTube video. It's really good.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, I reread House of M and the West Coast Avenger issues, and I didn't reread Division of Scar Witch limited series, so I was just kind of winging it from. I think I read them once in my life. Those are books I never reread, the Division of Scar Witch. So any information I had is probably incorrect in some way, but. And it's
way to sell it, John.
Well, it's pulled from 40 years ago. My memory from 40 years ago, but no. I mean, most of the stuff is right. I just maybe I got what issue something happened and I might have gotten wrong.
No, it was good. I think I think if you like what we've been doing the last couple weeks, I think you're gonna like that particular video that Jonathan put up. So check it out.
And if you're comic book fans, I'm trying to put more and more comic book content on the YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe and share the videos if you like them.
There you go. All right, you can find us on Facebook, NerdInMePodcast, Instagram, NerdInMe, Twitter, NerdInMePodcast, YouTube, as we mentioned, NerdInMePodcast. Check out, we've been like filling in that YouTube channel, so it's percolating. The last couple of weeks, it's been really on fire. So lots of cool content on there. That's it. Anything else?
That's all I got for now.
Till next time.
It's Wanda. It's all Wanda. Peace.
Yeah, peace.